Math people. While I'm out, I'm going to get you starting to review all of the things that we've done so far in Chapter 9. Actually, we've done everything that we're going to do in Chapter 9 for this year. So I want to look at the 5 different things that we've done really quickly and then get you practicing on your own. And then when I'm back, we'll go over anything that's troubling you. We'll review a little further. And then I am aiming for us to have a quiz on Friday. We're done with everything, so 2 days of review. Hopefully, we'll be good to go. But we'll definitely be touching base tomorrow when I'm back. Um, I'm calling this our Chapter 9 reference sheet notes. This is aimed at everyone as a review, but this is also aimed at those of you who have just been kind of coasting along, not really taking notes and writing things down. It's going to be very tricky to practice today and to study these next 2 days if you've got nothing to fall back on. So I would maybe jot a few things down. This is like your chance to make up for the things that you might have missed taking notes on. So without further ado, the first thing that we did in Chapter 9 was we talked about statistical questions. Very quickly, a statistical question is one that yields multiple answers. So one way to say that is a statistical question is one that's not factual. If I asked you, at what temperature does water freeze? No matter how many people I ask that question, there is one answer that will be given. So that is not statistical. Statistical questions have multiple answers. When you ask a group of people, there could be multiple things that are a result of that. If I told you to look outside and tell me how tall a tree is outside, we could pick different trees, have different heights, and have different answers. That could be a statistical question. So statistical questions have more than one answer. That's the simple way to summarize that. All right. That was thing 1. Thing 2, we talked about dot plots. A dot plot, just as a quick reminder, is formed off of a number line. So you have a set of data, and let's say my imaginary set of data has numbers between 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. And let's say 2 of the things in my set are a 35, 1 of the things is a 37, 3 are a 38, 4 are a 39, 2 are a 40, and 1 is a 41. This is a dot plot. This dot plot has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 pieces of data in it. Within this, you should be able to identify a gap, which would be right here, a peak, that is the highest point, if there is one, that would be right here. You should be able to identify a cluster, that's right here, where most of the data points are located. So remember these 3 words, how to identify them on a dot plot, and how to answer basic questions from a dot plot. For example, how many pieces of data are in this dot plot? All right, from there, we looked at our measures of center. Measures of center are the statistics that allow us to summarize a set of data with one single number, and that one single number is supposed to be able to paint a picture of the whole data set. And the 3 measures we talked about were mean, median, and mode. This comes down to you just learning those words, memorizing what they mean, and how to find them. The median, I'll start with, is the middle number, the direct middle of a set of data. The mode is the number that occurs most often. And mean is another word for average. When you're finding the average, you add all of the numbers up and you divide by the number of values that there are. The median, you need to line the data up from least to greatest. After you've done that, count down and find the middle. If there's one number in the middle, that's the middle number, that's the median. If there are two numbers in the middle, you find the average of those two numbers, so you add them up and divide by 2. That would be the middle, the median of the data set. And a mode, there can be one number that occurs most often. There can be multiple numbers that occur most often. Maybe you have two numbers that occur 4 times. There would be 2 modes. And there can be no mode. If all of the numbers occur the same number of times, like if everything in your set of data occurs once, or if you have a set of data where everything occurs twice, there would be no mode because there's nothing that occurs most often. All right, last 2 things. Number 4, we talked about our first 2 measures of variation. This talks about how spread out a set of data is. The first way that we talked about to see how spread is a set of data is range. Range is the one that's simpler to find. That is your greatest number in the data set minus the smallest number or the least number in your data set. And when you subtract those two, the result is the range. That tells you how spread out the data is. The second thing was interquartile range, IQR, of which there is a detailed Edpuzzle posted. If you forget or want to recall how to find IQR, go back to the night where we had IQR as homework, and there has been an IQR Edpuzzle added so that you can reference it as needed. But interquartile range, that's the one where you find the median of your data set, and then I'll show it really quickly with a fake set of numbers. So you find the middle of your set of data, in this case it's 6. That splits your data in half. Then in the lower half, you find the lower quartile, the lower median, and then you find the upper median, and then you say, okay, the interquartile range would be 9 minus 4, which is 5. That tells us that most of the data is spread between 5 numbers from 4 to 9. There are some numbers higher, some numbers lower, but most of the data is inside of this 5 range. All right, and our last one, the most fresh one, is MAD, measures of variation. Number 3, MAD. MAD tells us how varied or how spread out our numbers are from the mean. So this is the one where there's another detailed Edpuzzle that you had access to last night. I encourage you to go watch that if you need it, but this is the one where you find the mean, the average of the set of data, then you find out how deviated is each number from the mean, and then you find the average of those deviations. That gives you your MAD. And that's it. Those are the 5 main topics that we looked at for Chapter 9, our Data and Statistics unit. Today you're going to be powering through a study guide as much as you can. It takes some time. I encourage you to use a calculator. You may use a calculator for anything you'd like, especially when you're finding the average, the mean of a set of data. Don't sit there and add and divide by hand. Use a calculator. Be careful. Take your time. I encourage you also to show your work. If you make a mistake, it's so easy to fix it or to see what went wrong if you're showing it, which a lot of you are doing a great job with. So keep that up, and we will touch base in class on Thursday. I will see you then.